showtime.
OnlySlabs.
Comic book friends and fiends, it's Rob here in front of the Great Wall of Comics. It's Saturday. It's time for Only Slabs. Only Slabs doesn't happen, though, with just me. I need at least my co-host, Mr. Chris, the comic vet. How are you doing today, sir?
OnlySlabs. I'm good. How are you?
Only Slabs, yes.
OnlySlabs.
And we want to kick off today, although it's an American holiday. We still extend, of course, to all veterans, regardless. Chris, thank you again for your service, and to all our community members out there who have served, been members of the armed forces, whether it's the United States Armed Forces or any of those armed forces. We appreciate your serving your country. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob.
Are you excited?
Yes. I can't sit here and say, oh, this week it's going to be a massive week compared to other guests or whatever, but just by his handle alone, it's very exciting.
Well, I've talked to him before about this, and he says he refers to his age as opposed to necessarily his wheelhouse of where he collects. So,
yeah,
but still, nonetheless, who knows? Who knows? And for anyone who's wondering, he didn't read the title card of who we're going. Let's just bring him on now, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
The Bronze Age nerd, Christopher. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic today. Thanks for having me on the show, gentlemen. Thanks to everybody in the chat for being here. Can't wait to talk about some slabs.
Yes. Well, we definitely want to get to that. We want to make sure we get a chance to get to your fundraising initiative that you've got going on today. If you want to give people just a quick rundown on that real quick before we get into saying hello to the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So today I'm running the final auction for my event Heroes for Heroes 2023. It's my second annual fundraiser where 100% of the profits minus the shipping costs, I do have to get those covered through a separate invoice, but you're going to directly, I figured you'd have some appreciation for that. 100% of what the funds we raise are going to be donated directly to Mission 22. I'm an official fundraising partner for Mission 22 to help our veterans deal with things like mental health and their families. Primary focus is to help prevent the unfortunate tragedy that is the pandemic of veteran suicide.
Yes.
So we're going to have original art from Ivan Tao. We're going to have Sean Chen original art, Ron Garney original art doing a fantastic Conan piece, signed items from Jim Shooter, Arthur Adams, Robert Overstreet, all kinds of crazy signed items, donated comics, original sketches. I have sketches from Comic Tropes, another YouTube comic book star. So all kinds of cool stuff. That starts today at 4 p.m. Pacific time or 7 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel. And it's going to be a really great event, and I hope to see you all there.
Awesome. And, of course, links down below if you need to get the link to the channel there. All right. As well as actually is the link to Bronze Age Nerds linked tree, which includes the link if you just want to go and donate to the Mission 22 direct link. It's part of his link tree. So that's down there below as well. All right. Before we get into showing off some of the books that you brought with us and getting into all this, it's that time of the show where we like to play Romper Room.
Romper Bomper, Stomper Boo, tell me, do. Magic Mirror, tell me today, did all my friends have fun at play?
Oh, we hope they will. And here's Les Crucius. Hooray. Joe's the adventurous Joe's here. Hello, all brothers and sisters. Scotty Vaughn, yes, from Chattanooga, Tennessee's in the house. Trev, the shipping guru. It is Slabbing Time. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy to have you here with us. Jean Malo, hello, everyone. Let's see here. We got Dale Suspense checking in with a bunch of those emojicons available to our channel members. Thank you so much for that. PSN Green Hulkster in the house. Thank you, sir. I hope that you've got it back. If you haven't already, sent just too much of an overkill AOK. I had to return it. It was too much. If you haven't seen it, I mean, he sent me an AOK. It was a Stan Lee signed Ravage 2099. It was too much. I couldn't accept it. It was returned and sent back to him. But yeah, absolutely crazy, insane.
He's good people.
Sounds like
he's good people.
Yeah, it was trying to make up for what he thought was a bad mystery box, which mystery boxes are part of the thing. It is what it is. It wasn't my particular deal, but it was overkill. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. Awesome dude. Let's see here. What else we got here? Oh, hey, Izzy versus here. He's ready for some slabbing. Chris, the comic vet's here. Have you ever met this guy, Chris?
You know what? I briefly met him a little while ago.
Oh, I was actually talking to Chris.
Oh,
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, it gets confusing.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, this
not really, but
guy,
I hear he's handsome.
He's got some interesting content on his channel. You might check him out sometime. I think you might like what he has to say.
But I do know he can't grow facial hair worth a lick looking at you two guys, so I'll just pass that off.
Man who's going into the service, Mr. Comics 89. It's slabbing time.
And congratulations on 1,000 subscribers. He hit 1,000 subscribers.
Hey, congratulations.
Yes.
Kenneth Bird's here, everybody. Hello.
Hey,
thank you for joining us. Chop and Drop in the house. Cliff on Comics is here. Absolutely. Mad Spidey's woken up goddamn early in the morning to be here with us, and we appreciate that. Phil Aileen, he's here for everybody. Mr. Wayne Deacon is here. How you doing? Good evening, sir. Austin LeMay's up for us. How you doing? Hey, now we got community royalty in the house. I don't know if you watched his YouTube channel.
From Austin LeMay on the show tonight. Just throwing that out there.
Well, have you ever seen his content on his YouTube channel? We're subscribing to.
Yeah.
Oh my God, some of the best stuff out there. Make sure you subscribe, Austin LeMay. Stephen C, afternoon henchman and non-henchman. We appreciate everyone. Henchwomen or wenchwomen? Maybe I don't know.
Whoa,
hell,
like
yeah. Dead man.
Hey.
Good evening to the Slab Brigade. Nice.
That's good.
11.
Like
Finally, we can slab it. Hook Collector 82. Let's see here. Who else is in the house with us today? Joining us. Make sure we say hello to everybody. I already said El Green Machine is here. Like number 15. Good morning, everyone. Let's see here. Charmaine. Hello. Good day. Thank you for joining us, Charmaine Deacon. Comic Cap Collectibles, recent guest on the show. Thank you for joining us today. We're going through it here. I thinking maybe. Oh, nope. There he is. Couching and slouching with the sea bizzle. I know that I'm not going to find DVH is not going to be joining us today. He's at a con. As you would expect him in regalia.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, there he is, bringing it in first time as always. Mr. Marty Aleko kicking us off with our first super chat. Let's cure cancer. Yes, because all the channel revenue on this channel, including super chats, all go to support the Comics Curing Cancer event. Thank you so much, sir.
Time I ever asked for anything I really wanted.
Just gonna rep that real fast too. By the way,
there you go. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, there. Let's see here. What was got in the house? Scroll through. Maybe we got everyone. Oh, Lone Eagle. Hello. It's Slabber Day. It most certainly is. Warlord. Hello to you. See, sort of like I say that maybe we've gotten to everybody. Invariably, I find the people we haven't gotten to yet. Ryan Riley, how you doing? What's up, peeps? Thank you for joining us. The real James Willie, not that fake James Willie. No. Let's see here. And jumped on me. Oh, T-Dubs, the king of all nerds, Taylor Winder. How you doing, sir? Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Boom, boom, boom. I say boom, 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 and all of a sudden I think back to the 80s. There was a song. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go back. No. Let's go back to my room where we can do it all.
Boom, boom. I want you in my room.
Yeah. We can do it all night.
Yeah,
that was. Then later on, you remember
it was a constant lyric.
Then you get older. Then you get older, and you realize what the lyrics actually meant, and you go like, "Oh, wow, okay." Well. Let's see here. All right. Oh, maybe did I say hello to Phil? I think maybe I did, but just in case I did not, Phil, hello. Freaky Louie, salutations, true believers. There's my man, Freaky Louie. Make sure you're subscribing to him. I know we finally got him over 500, but he's still got a way to go to get to 1,000. Subscribe. Let's see here. TM Nerdy, hello. How are you?
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for joining us. Timo Hana in the house. Thank you very much, Timo Hana.
Hello, Richard.
What else we got? Man, you guys are popping off like crazy. I love it. You guys are awesome. So many folks in the chat saying hello to everyone. And I think I finally got to the end, and I think we've hit everybody. If I didn't hit anybody, I really apologize. But I love you guys all nonetheless.
I'll take over now.
Again, thank you again to all those channel members who make Comics Carrying Cancer possible through your support on this channel. Liking this, commenting, subscribing, getting out for more people. It all helps. The super chat's awesome, but of course our channel members, especially our Goon Squad, the folks that have stepped up to the higher tier level every month to help out and get some special benefits. Chris, the comic vet, Son of a Bruce, Stephen C., Legion of Comics, DJ Links, Dr. Von Hoots, Comics from the Spiral Dimension, Dale of Suspense, the Comic Viking, Justin Birch, Trev, the Shipping Guru, Collecting with Durs, Austin LeMay, Mad Spidey, Brian LCS, Comicverse, Deadman, Anachronic Comics, and Colossus Collector. Thank you guys all so much for all that you do. And of course, also to our regular henchmen, Travis Vick, Actual Dracula, Jack B Comics, PSN Green Hulkster, Digger Jim 720, Blue Hellion Comics, Comic Ozzy, Flo Dameron, Beckerman, Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy, Comics by the Bay, Sector 2815, The Real James Willie, Tate Prime, Chaos and Comics, Marty Aleko, Circumstances, Remy Q Studios, Comic Journey, Matt 268, Comics with Murdoch, Comic Man Andy, Cup of Comics, Remy Q Studios, Comic Journey, Matt 268. Did I read that one twice? I did. Some of this is repeating.
What?
Interesting. I got some editing to do. All right. Mad Spidey, Cup of Comics. That whole column is repeated, it seems. Burke Family 54.
Everybody.
Yes, Burke Family 54, Comic Switch Comics, Shattered Glass Collectibles, Ben Parker Comics, Seth 11, Hulk Collector 82, Izzyverse NYC, A Comic Bookworm, Chuck Hensey, Norin Rad 82, Lone Eagle, Gene Malo, Triple G Comics, Noggin Comics, Aggressively Relaxing, Evils Comics, Charlemagne Deacon, Mon Comics, Milt Miller, the winner of this month's Henchman of the Month, who still needs to reach out to me with his shirt size and address so I can get his henchman shirt to him. Beth Wellbore, JG, Papa Wheelie, and Old Man Collectibles. Thank you guys all so much. Maybe I can condense that, take a whole slide off of that once I remove all the duplicates. I don't know how that happened. Anyways, all right, that's enough of that for now. We want to give you let's spotlight. There we go. This is the way I like it. For a welcome to the show. For anyone who doesn't know, has never heard of the Bronze Age Nerd, give them a second. Give them the Cliff Notes. Who are you? What are you all about? And why should they subscribe to your channel?
Well, you know what? So here's the funny thing about me. I never actually ask anybody to subscribe to my channel. So I kind of just ask you to check out my content and see what you think.
There you go.
Basically, I'm a Bronze Age nerd. I'll explain that real fast. As you'll probably notice, you're like expecting a bunch of Bronze Age comics. I was born in 1982 at the tail end of the Bronze Age. So I myself am a Bronze Age nerd, kind of similar to like if you had a Hulk 181, that would be a Bronze Age comic. So I started reading like in the Copper Age, loved reading G.I. Joe when I was a kid, eventually moved on to X-Men, thanks to X-Men, the animated series, and became an X-Men fan for my entire life. Absolutely loved it. Took a few years off from comic books like a lot of people do. At the start of the pandemic, I decided to get into doing YouTube content because it kind of covered some things that I really wanted to do my whole life, like video editing and sound work and lighting and all that kind of stuff, learning some SEO and social media and all those kinds of skills. So I kind of set out with some specific goals for my channel and some things that I wanted to accomplish. And really what I wanted to do was bring unique perspectives. So I like to cover things from a different perspective than most people do in the comic book community, especially on YouTube. So like a lot of people during the pandemic, you know, there was a big boom in comic book collecting and speculation. And I played devil's advocate to that. And I said, hey, what about the comic books you shouldn't be buying that are on those hot lists right now? That became a very popular series, as did some, you know, stories I covered. Like I was pretty early on in covering the acetate gate C2E2 scandal and some other things that have happened in the community with some drama. So if you're interested in that kind of content, I recommend checking my videos out. If you like it, hey, you know what to do. But if you don't, I totally understand, and you can move on and enjoy whatever other content you prefer. But I always love hearing about different opinions, especially if they don't agree with me.
Phenomenal. All right,
Great.
well, let's get into some comics. What do you say about that? We like to learn about our guests through the comics that are special to them. So what's the first book you're going to pull out and share with us today?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, there will be plastic noises.
I know, it's just the way it is. Oh,
First
we like
book
it already. Yep.
Yes.
Boom. So that is ASM 37, first appearance of Norman Osborn in a 5.0.
Yeah,
Great
and
book.
a nice and I think probably the one of very, very few robot covers for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Fantastic point on that one. And I did get this one with a custom label. Not all my stuff has custom labels, but I'm one of the people that does enjoy that. I know it's not for everybody, and you know, don't hate me if you don't like them. It's for my collection, and I like them.
I like the way they look. I'm just not a fan of the added expense and the way that they fragment them off with submissions, whereby, you know, and especially because I'm not a fan of CGCs forcing things into separate submissions, separate submission fees, and separate shipping fees. So that's my big issue with it. If it was something, and it really makes no sense that they do that, because there's no. So if it was like I could submit books and only put the label on certain books, and it was all still as part of the same submission and same shipping, I wouldn't have an issue with it at all. I don't think.
No.
Yeah, and I mean the other problem I have with it too, to be honest, is the limited nature of some of the labels. Like I get that limited exclusives are a thing in comic books, but let's face it, if you want your whole collection to have a certain label and you're going to submit books over a course of time, it'd be nice if they could all match, but sometimes that's not possible, and that's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
Just to talk about that book, Chris, if you wouldn't mind showing it again. So that's a 5.0. As Rob and I worked on an ASM run. Let me tell you, everyone, in my opinion, this is a high grade. This is a real tough book to get in a high grade because of that infamous Marvel shipping. But that's a black book that goes all the way around, and the back cover itself goes right bright away from the orange, the yellow, and the black that's right there, and the powder blue that's around Spider-Man's head up in the thumbnail corner. Yeah, so Chris, kudos to you, man. That 5.0, that's a great grade for that book.
That one and that first Cat Burglar. Oh, go hard.
That and Molten Man. Like those three books right there, they're tough. So a 5.0 to me is a nice high grade.
Yep.
Yeah, and one thing you'll notice with books that are of any vintage, even going back to early modern age stuff, I'm an any grade collector. I'm a low grade is better than no grade kind of person, because the way I look at it, there's so many comic books that I wish I'd bought in low grade when I could have afforded them, and I didn't. And you know, if I upgrade a comic book later on, great. But you'll see comic books like I'll go 0.5, 1.0, 1.5. I don't care, as long as I have a copy. I can always get a better one later on.
We learned that the other week. We had a guest on. It was very much a low grade collector, but you know what? Anybody who wants to knock low grade collecting, he had a Deck 27 and an Action 1, and I don't have either. So
yeah. 100%. Like my Grail is X-Men 1, and I would kill for a 0.5.
Right, exactly.
Right. So
there you go. If you want somebody killed, guys, and you got an X-Men 1, talk to Christopher.
I'll take care of him. No problem. Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the next book here. So one of my favorite characters of all time is Power Girl. So this is a Power Girl #1 Adam Hughes variant, signed by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti.
Nice.
In a 9.8.
Nice.
So absolutely love that book.
Is that a helicopter in the background?
That is a helicopter. Yep.
Okay, I just want to point that out for everyone who's watching. There is a helicopter on that cover.
I often get distracted by the spotlights. I have the spotlight on this cover, but yeah, I absolutely understand.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, great Adam Hughes cover and one of my favorites. Love the Amanda Connor cover for that book as well, and I have that, but that one I had to send off to the side.
Yeah, he did a great run on Power Girl and his Catwoman covers too.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
really, really nice. Yeah,
Absolutely. And I will pair that with probably the most desirable book from that run, Worn Loose first cover.
Yeah.
Woo! In a 9/8.
Yeah.
And this is all, both of those books were mine when I originally collected this run from my pull box at the physical Things from Another World location in Beaverton, Oregon, back in the day. So,
Nice.
glad to have it come back that way. And I didn't even realize that was an expensive book until I kind of got back into comics, and I realized, oh man, people are really after this thing. And now it's one of the most expensive books in my collection.
For me, that's the one that put Warren on the map. And now to me, he's a superstar artist. Like he doesn't necessarily even make covers monthly, but yeah, that's
right.
If you're a Warren fan, that is the crown jewel.
And that's the thing is, there's a lot of cover artists that I think are maybe a little oversaturated right now.
Yes.
And he's kind of hitting that sweet spot for me where when his covers come out, I generally feel like there's been enough time that I've had the last one settle and I can move on to the next one. And he does a really good job with that.
People are loving some Power Girl.
Let's see. I got one more modern before we move to some slightly older stuff. And this was a cover buy for me before I read the series. Didn't know anything about it. This cover is captivating to me. Like I really, I'm not a horror fan, but there's something so creepy about this cover. And this is Nice House on the Lake.
Yes.
The Gallagher Virgin variant in a 9/8. And if you're kind of wondering what I'm talking about, the creepy, if you look behind her in the water, you'll see the hands. And man, that is just such I don't know what it is. I could stare at this cover for hours, and I don't often do that with horror style covers, but this one just does it for me. I'm afraid of open water. That's one of my phobias. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Great spec book too.
Of course, I'm sure the open water, you're not fearing people's hands coming up at you, though.
Yes. that is definitely.
Thank you, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
So this is actually my favorite cover of all time, despite the fact that it has a god awful banner on the top of it. It's my favorite comic book cover of all time, and I own many copies of this. This is my highest grade that I would send in for submission.
Yes.
The 9/2 with that custom giant size style X-Men label. You got the Phoenix Must Die X-Men 137.
But more importantly, this comic could be worth $2,500 to you.
It could be, yes, absolutely. And that's the only bad thing about this cover, and I totally understand why people rip on it for that reason. But just the artwork alone, just gorgeous.
See, I remember this
book too.
This book came out what year?
So this book was 1980 in September.
Right. Okay, so Marvel was not exactly its most flush. And so they may have done some cover advertising and promotional gimmicks and whatnot.
Right. The 10-speak bike also comes to mind.
Yeah.
Toys R Us. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Keeping it old school for a couple more. Was very lucky to get this. This is another example of this is not the highest grade copy of this book, but I still really enjoy having it.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I just picked up a copy of that the other day.
Nice.
Let's go.
Yeah. So it's only on a 4.5, but if you're not familiar, first appearance of Iron Fist. I really loved, actually, I came upon Iron Fist in a very strange way for compared to most people. I read the Heroes for Hire series in the 90s with him and Luke Cage. And then I went back and checked out a lot of other stuff, but I really liked the character. And, of course, it's unfortunate that the series we got wasn't the best, but
it's unfortunate, but it's fortunate at the same time, because like I said, I just picked up my copy. Now mine's a higher grade, but it's a super affordable book for what is really a significant key appearance, because Iron Fist is a big character within he's not like an A-list character, but he's a solid B-list character
Yeah.
in the Marvel pantheon of characters, and so it is a significant first appearance, and it's a book that can be acquired very affordably.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that it also benefits from the fact that Bronze Age books still aren't, for the most part, viewed in that, like, I must grab it now. People still think they have time, even though they're getting close to 50 years old. So
And
it's a book that if you don't have one of those and you're thinking about wanting to get one, I recommend taking a look at adding it to your list and keep an eye on it. You'll be surprised how inexpensive a copy of that can be acquired.
And some of the best Marvel stories that have been told in the last 10 years was actually his limited series by Curry Andrews. That was a 12-issue run, and I recommend that to anyone who's like poo-pooing Marvel comics or whatever. Check out Curry Andrews' Iron Fist limited series of 12 issues. It was fantastic.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stories there.
It benefits from the fact that the series wasn't well perceived, so it kind of didn't build up that speculative hype, if you want to say, or the hype crashed quick, much like the Namor Submariner books.
Oh man, yeah, those came sinking back out. It's good for Namor fans that want the books, but
right, exactly.
Yeah. Another first appearance, Bronze Age book here, Marvel Spotlight 32.
Yeah, there's a good one.
Very nice. Now, Bronze, would you do us a favor and read us what's on the right side of that blue label?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first appearance and origin of Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, Nick Fury cover and appearance in a CBCS 7.0.
Terrific. When she had the full head mask, so her hair wasn't actually flowing.
Yeah, I will admit, I also have a copy of Spider-Woman 1 in a higher grade. I definitely appreciate that cover a little bit more just for the costume design. Yeah. But the actual cover of this one, I mean, there's just something, this screams Bronze Age. I mean, it just has
the purple ray gun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the purple ray gun.
Yeah.
Hulk Collector 82. Yes, you're right. Sabretooth's first appearance was in Iron Man, Iron Fist 10. Right?
14?
14? 10? 14? Whatever.
Yeah.
So an early issue of Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Let's go with
Snow
that.
cover as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is a book that's definitely on my list. By the way, speaking of Iron Fist, I want to get a first appearance of Luke Cage now to go with that book.
Wait till we get those before we talk about these books. Because I've been trying to get a copy for a while now, and the problem is I keep missing the price point I want at the grade I want. I'm just haven't found that. I might have to be my Heroes Con thing for next year.
That is absolutely the eternal struggle. This is a book that I had to reacquire. So about 6 years ago now, I sold the vast majority of my collection. I kept a few short boxes, which some of my best books and stuff that really meant a lot to me. Some stuff we're going to get to in a minute. Some stuff we've already seen. I had to reacquire this book. It was hard to do. It was just starting to take off before a lot of rumors started to come into place. But luckily, I was able to send it in coinciding with a timing for a signing. So I did get 388 signed by Adam Kubert. And I had to get, this is one of the ones man, that custom label, especially considering that it got a 9.4 to me is just, it's just great. And I'll try to show the signature there a little bit closer too for people. But I'm a big Wolverine fan, big Deadpool fan. Love a lot of the Wolverine's kind of rogue gallery and consider Deadpool to be part of that. And just happy to have that one.
I gotta admit that's a great book, but as a Canadian, I hate seeing two Canadians fight. But that is a wonderful cover.
Yeah, no, that's got to be hard, and I do appreciate that.
But they're indestructible, so who cares?
Yeah, well,
they are indestructible. And speaking of Canadians,
awesome signature placement. Marty says,
Yeah.
Canadians. Speaking of Canadians, there you go.
Love the Kuberts. All the Kuberts are awesome in my opinion. Speaking of first appearances of Canadian characters,
there we go. Yeah.
So
look at that.
Oh, nice
first appearance of Wolverine. And yes, it is the first appearance of Wolverine. I don't care what anybody says. Now, would I rather own 181 than this book? Yes, of course, but this is the one I have.
We've said it. We'll say it once. We'll say it twice. First is first.
Yep.
He's in it, therefore it's his first appearance. Whether or not you want to add connotations of cameos or fulls or anything else, that's for collectors when they're trying to assign value. But it's not debatable as to whether or not it's the first appearance or not.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, phenomenal book. And in fact, our friends are I'll shout it out. I don't care. Legion of Comics and DJ Links combining together for upcoming giveaway for their subscribers. They're giving away a Hulk 180 in an 8.0.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So
I will say when I got this book, this is one of those books that's dropped significantly, or at least it did, and then it's kind of gone back up a little bit, I guess, with Deadpool 3, news circulating. But it was probably like a $900 book when I got it. It's more affordable now than that, of course, but
yeah,
which is, guess I wish I would have waited, right? But I mentioned I love Power Girl. She's one of my favorite characters. Again, maybe not a super huge book.
Oh my.
But George Takei loves it.
Nice. Very nice.
yes.
And I bought this one slabbed. I actually, when I have the time and the effort, I really suspect that this could get at least a 1 to maybe 2 grade bump on it.
Nice.
With a great clean and press, especially the cleaning aspect. But
Now,
first Power Girl.
Christopher, we've only had this book maybe once or twice on the show before, but would you mind reading us what's on the right side of that blue label for this issue,
Absolutely.
please?
Of course. First appearance of Power Girl Kara Zor-El. First issue of title since 1951.
All right.
awesome.
Because this title it was an original early title and it just disappeared and they brought it back, resurrected it, and continued going all these years later. Of course, my favorite toy.
Yes.
On the backside, the Evil Knievel stunt cycle.
Yes.
Phenomenal. But
best ad ever in the 70s.
Oh, man.
I have a copy, but I had to acquire my copy twice because I had the first copy I had acquired turned out that it had people make sure you check your comics. It turned out it had been cracked and somebody had removed the comic and put another copy in and tried to reseal it and then move it. And it was really disappointing at first because finding one, like my copy's a 9.2. And like you said, for a while, it's actually the price on it's been it was going up for a while.
Yeah.
I haven't looked in the last 6 months, but last I saw it, it was still going up. And so finding one at that price was hard to get at a low grade. When I got one at the right price and then found it only to it turned out was a fake, then having to get another copy, trying to find another copy again at the price I wanted, was extremely challenging, but perseverance.
Well, and I'll tell you, the perseverance piece is very important. Like I bought this years ago, but I think I paid $100 for this slabbed already. So
yeah,
if you're an eBay user, put your searches in and check those auctions as the new listings pop up.
That's a book that I think 7s and 8s are really realistically, those are books that you can get fairly reasonable. Matter of fact, hey, what the hell? We're here. Let's take this pause and take a look real quick, right? So this is All Star Comics. Now issue number, what one is it? Issue 58.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look. Chris,
yeah,
you know how the game is played, an 8.0. Okay. What do you think that this is running today?
I legitimately, I remember looking it up back in the comic boom and just being like, what? Really that much? But in 8.0, before I guess, Christopher, what was the release date for that issue?
This one came out in 1976. Okay. January, February 1976.
475, Rob.
Yeah, no, it's not that high, not an 8.
No, I don't think so.
But it is a book that it is on the increase. So right now an 8.0 is going to run you about $250. So we've had the last 3 sales were $250, $259, and $230. So right around that range. If you want value, you drop down half a grade to a 7.5, $160.
Wow.
You drop $100 off the cost of
That's
the
not bad.
book. You go to a 7, you're talking about you can get a book for about $100. So
There you
it's a book you can get in a respectable grade affordably. You start going up, and what's interesting though is it doesn't scale the same. I mean, 9.0 will also seems to be selling for about 250 to 275. So an 8.0, an 8.5, and a 9.0 all for somewhere between $250 to $300 is about the same range all those go for. So if you find the right piece in there, you could get a near mint minus copy for
There you
almost
go.
the same price as an 8.0. It's one of these weird scenarios, but hey.
Well, and this is, to me, this is the argument for low grades better than no grade. I mean, you know, I paid, I think it was $100 shipped
Right.
when I bought it, and that was in 2019.
For the
Maybe 2018. And look, I mean, I could have paid a lot more for a higher grade, but now, I mean, if I was in the whole investment flipping kind of thing, or if I was looking for this book today in this grade, about 250, and you know, maybe I'd go for the 9.0 and be a little bit happier with it. This kind of age of book, I honestly would prefer a 9.0, but hey, I got a copy, and I you know, now it's already more than doubled in price. So there you go.
Which means to tell you that if you want to clean and press it to try to resubmit it, it's worth the value from a value perspective. It's worth going ahead and doing that, because if you get a half grade or two grade bump, you're talking about some increase there. So
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, very fun book. Oh, I went nuts with the painter's tape on
Remy
this one.
Q in the house. Some of the people
Hey,
who
Remy.
come in. Remy, I saw. So some of the people who come and join us. I see Remy Q's joined us while you're getting that ready. Fanboy Prime, M_E Comics, Hector Ortiz. Let's see who else has joined recently. Since I saw Fable had jumped in.
Hey, what's up, man?
Unruly Simeon. Just collecting with Durs. So many people hopping in a little bit on here after we said hello to everybody. Thank you guys all so much for coming on out. Appreciate you all for that.
Yeah, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, everybody that's here, if you haven't done it already. Speaking of thumbs up, how about
yeah.
Yep. And I had to seek this one out in newsstand. I often preach about not buying into FOMO. I'll be honest, this was a FOMO purchase. This was starting to take off pretty big in the pandemic. And in my head, I was like, you know, I could see this book not coming back down. And again, this is why I preach against it, because it did come back down. It didn't crash, but it came back down.
Yeah.
But I bought this on the way up. I don't remember exactly what I paid for it, but I know I probably overpaid a little bit for it, especially for 7.5. But you know what? I'm glad I have it. I bought it from a seller that had you can't really see it. That's a Secret Wars 8 up there. That's an 8.5. Okay. I bought it at the same time. I figured that's a really good 1-2 punch for these.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good book. If you're a Spidey fan and you grew up reading Spidey in the 80s and 90s, kind of have to have it, right?
Oh, you know, it absolutely is. It's one of those key books that, you know, I couldn't believe that Chris didn't own a copy at one point here. I mean, I had to freaking go out and get him a copy, because, you know, how could he be a Spider-Man fan and not have a copy? It was insane to me.
There you go.
But that's one of those books, though, too. I mean, you're right. You got to be careful. This is where FOMO is important.
Yes.
Careful, because it is a book that went up and it has leveled down. But a lot of books did that, so that's just how it is. But especially when we start talking about this newsstand aspect,
yeah,
you know, when you're talking about a newsstand, the question is whether or not what are you collecting for, and whether or not you value that newsstand more. Forget what they value it more as, right?
Yeah.
I only value a newsstand copy over a direct copy more when I'm selling it to somebody who's willing to pay more for the newsstand copy. You know, when I was looking around for my first Deadpool, people kept telling, oh, this is $800 because it's a newsstand. So, well, I don't care. I want a direct copy because I'm going to pay $400 less. I don't care. It's still first. This book, especially when you start talking about a book where at a 7.5, where newsstand to me doesn't matter unless if you pull out a 9.8 newsstand, a 9.6 newsstand from back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's maybe an argument as to why it's rarer and it should be worth more. But when you start talking about 7.5 newsstand, no different to me than a direct copy, because it didn't, when it was on
The
the
rarity
newsstand,
wasn't there. I mean,
well,
and
it didn't have to. The whole argument is that on the news rack, it got suffered from all this damage and stuff
right.
and the handling and stuff. Well, yeah, it's not a near mint copy, so it shouldn't get the rub.
To me, like it's a very good topic and a complex topic for me. Now, as a collector, I have preferences as a collector completely separate from value on newsstand that goes back to going to grocery stores and buying comic books, and that's what I prefer. But I have very specific reasons why I buy direct. Early direct, which to me is, if for the rarity argument, exactly, like you have the Marvel books with the diagonal slash through the barcode. If you ever see that, that means that it's an early direct from the first couple of years that they did direct in the late 70s and early 80s. And those were more rare than newsstands. Newsstands were the predominant number of copies on the market. I also care about late newsstands, like 2000 plus newsstands for certain keys. But for the most part, the most directs that I get are going to be like the McFarlane corner boxes, or any of the corner boxes that had original, not original art, but they had different art than the Spidey head, or they had different art than the normal direct logos you saw, because I appreciate those. Other than that, I enjoy seeing the newsstand just because it takes me back to my childhood. It's a nostalgia thing. So
that's exactly it. I don't give a crap either. Like I said, unless I'm selling it and somebody's willing to pay more, I don't care. I'm all about trying to get the best value for the book that I want. So
100%. And like for me, it's, do I prefer newsstand? Yeah. Do I seek it out? Like if I have two books that are sitting there and the direct's a little bit better of a deal and the newsstand's right there, I'll grab the direct. It's just, that's how it goes.
It's just one of those topics that comes up, I think, because like you say FOMO, it triggers. I think we've caught ourselves. Oh, look at that newsy, and it's like it's been something that has been made to be a thing in order 100%. To try to segment some books and make them have a perceived higher value.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a fan of that aspect of it at all. In fact, it's funny. This next book that I'll show, I actually have two copies of this in similar grades. One's a newsstand, one's a direct, and I'm showing out the direct. That is first appearance of Rogue.
There you go.
One of the worst covers of all time for first appearance,
or for trying to get a signature on it.
Yes, exactly. Good luck figuring out where you're going to sign that. I mean, the logo is pretty much all you got.
Yeah, exactly. It's right across the trade.
To me, the fact that this is a direct book saves this cover, because the only clear thing on this book is Spider-Man's head.
That's true. Yeah, not a bad point. And yeah, this is a copy that I bought to pair very specifically with the next book, which will kind of be about my halfway point, FYI.
Okay. Yeah. Four color commentaries got a question here. So, why is new print version more popular? And was there a time where lower print runs where they were print? Yeah. Yes. So the more you get past the mid 80s into the 90s stuff, you start getting really low amount of newsstand distribution, because everything shifted to comic book stores and direct distribution. So once you get into those books, the newsstands tend to be rarer. The idea about whether or not they're more popular or not, they're more popular amongst a particular sect of people who are trying to create added value. For me, I always associate with the first time I ever heard of it was with Spawn. That Spawn #1 million freaking copies produced. People wanted it to be worth a lot of money because it's like the big image book, everything else, and it never really was a big money book. And then all of a sudden, somebody came with this idea. Well, look, this one's a newsstand version, and all of a sudden, that's the first time I heard people talking about newsstand books being worth more. Was when it was related to Spawn #1, and then I've seen it grow and grow since then. And it's usually with modern books, and then you get some people who talk about it with older books, which really don't matter. Anybody who tells you a newsstand book from the 70s, well, yeah, that's because they were. I mean, so
there wasn't even a newsstand. That's just the book.
Yeah, I don't know if they're more popular or not, or worth more or not. Really, just comes down to the individual collector. So,
yeah, 100%. Now, the one small correction I'll make around that is that in the mid 80s, it was actually closer to 50-50 newsstand versus direct for, like, say, Marvel, for example. Right. So really, even then, you're talking about there's literally nothing rare about it because it's one for one.
We are silly. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
So yeah,
Whitmans are rare, sure, but they're
Mhm.
also less generally, even though they're rare, are generally valued less.
yeah. There's some Star Wars Whitmans that are worth quite a bit, depending on which version it is.
Yeah,
That's a whole nother ball game.
but overall, whether Whitmans are generally valued, not
Yeah.
always, but generally valued less than the regular distribution.
I will say this much: I am a sucker for Mark Jewelers. That's one that I go in for as far as these kind of hot button things that people look for. I like Mark Jewelers just because.
Things that people have said to try to add value to
Yeah,
the book. Yeah, well,
yeah,
fair enough.
and I'm a fan of it just because to me it's fun looking for them because you're digging through and you can kind of see the little insert through the top. You're like, oh hey, there you go. Especially on a nice book.
No, I'm with you on that one, Christopher. But just because I like the fact that it's where it's tied into historically, that they
Yep.
were sent to military bases, predominantly American bases. So that's the part that I enjoy about them.
Yeah,
Trying to find a
absolutely.
Mark Jeweler book.
Yeah, I go hunting for comics near the Lewis McChord Air Force Base, the Joint
Okay.
Air Force Base, and I always look for Mark Jewelers up there, and they're all picked over. You can't really find them, but a couple times I've found especially the ones I really like to get are GI Joe Mark Jewelers. I think that's really fun.
Yeah.
So.
Again, like they're saying here, what about Canadian price? Canadian price variants, Australian price variants, UK price variants. Again, they're all just ways that people have taken a market of the same book, segmented it to try to say that this is rarer, right? And so whether or not you put added value into that or not, that's an individual thing. But in reality, it's the same book. It's it's just, even when you get into those 35-cent variants of the 30-cent where they're in test market things, they're unique and there's less of them. Certainly they're rarer. Whether or not you value it more or not, that comes to you as an individual collector as opposed to anything else. And that's really what it comes down to with any of this stuff. Guys, is always remember a book is only worth what you're willing to pay for it. The value is individual.
Yep.
So.
And the only other one I'd point out, when you come to these kind of when you're talking about mass-produced collectibles and the scarcity of certain things, you do get to kind of like air variants, which is kind of one I've always wanted to find is the ASM 194 yellow box at the top corner. That's extremely scarce. Good luck finding one of those. So it really depends. But if you just want the book, save yourself a ton of money and just buy the regular, plain Jane copy of the book, and you're gonna be happy for it, unless you need that extra scarcity that comes from that.
To me, I think the only time I've ever sought out a specific variant, really, for something was when I was getting like copies of the first appearance of Union Jack. I sought out a pence variant just because for some reason I thought that I should have that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someday I'll seek out a Canadian price variant for Alpha Flight, but for right
that's
now,
exactly mine that I'm looking for. 100%.
But I mean, ultimately, that's just a me personal thing.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily value it any more than the other, but it's just something I'd kind of like to have.
Yeah, it's fun because of the nature of the character of the book in that case. Yeah.
Thank you very
100%.
much, Frank.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. I'm glad you're here. As a refresher for those before the sermon, no, I was kidding. We did show the first appearance of Rogue, so a lot of you can guess exactly which book I'm going to show next when I say I got it to pair with this book. But in the same grade, I have the first appearance of Gambit.
The first cover appearance.
Yeah,
first cover appearance is always the safest.
Yes, it's funny.
Let's
I actually
not
do
go down this rabbit hole with this one, boys.
and the first intended appearance.
Yes, exactly. First in
storyline appearance. Yes.
So it's funny because I actually have, if for those that don't know what we're talking about, the real chronological in life first appearance of Gambit is in X-Men Annual 14, and I have a old labeled CGC 96 that I almost grabbed it, but really because of these books together, I'm a big Rogue and Gambit together fan, and they I was able to match the grades, match the custom labels. That's kind of what I'm talking about when I talk about why I like that stuff, and there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was my halfway point, by the way.
Nice. Phenomenal. All right, excellent. Well, then halfway point's our point where we'll take a pause and we're going to do our giveaway.
Yay.
And so we have a box. For those of you guys who don't know, we got a box full of comics. And Chris, do we give away just garbage comics on this channel?
No, we give away great books. It makes me shake my head and wonder what in the world Rob was thinking by putting those great books in that box. But
We
here
s-
we are,
we s-
folks. It's about that time.
we intentionally seed this box with good books, as well as there's some chances to win some slabs in here as well, and some merchandise. So, anyways, in order to play this game, it's really simple. No purchase necessary. That's the great thing. We just do it for free.
You
And
don't
all
need
you
a
have to do
barcode.
is enter the pays that phrase. And today, it's Heroes for Heroes.
That's a good one, Rob.
Which, of course, if you don't know what the meaning of this is, well, people are interested. Why don't you give them that rundown once again there, Christopher?
Yeah, absolutely. So Heroes for Heroes is a charity event. This is my second year doing it. This is Heroes for Heroes 2023. It is 100% of all donations collected are going to Mission 22. This year, I'm an official fundraising partner with Mission 22, so I have a portal on their website where you can actually directly support this particular fundraising event. All the proceeds automatically go to Mission 22. I have a charity auction coming up later today. We've had a couple other events that already happened in the community. We're close to $1,000 raised already. I'm hoping to raise another few $1,000s later today, at least, for a bunch of original art I'll be auctioning off, including original art. Like I have a Baroness original art. He's never drawn it before. Ivan Tao doing an original Baroness piece. I have a Ron Garney Conan piece, a Sean Chen Wolverine. In fact, since I happen to have that Sean Chen piece right here,
Oh,
just show that real fast.
Hold on.
But yeah, that is Sean Chen. If you're familiar with Sean Chen, he did a run on X-Men. He did some Wolverine. He did Iron Man, Iron Fist. We talked about him earlier. He did some Iron Fist comics. Great artist. So a lot of really cool original art that we're going to have available. I've had Comic Tropes. Chris from Comic Tropes is donating another Baroness piece as well as a Doctor Strange piece that's fantastic. I have items from Overstreet. They sent in items signed by Jim Shooter, Robert Overstreet, and Steve Jeppy, including artist proof editions of the second print of the original Overstreet price guide. That's fantastic.
wow.
So a lot of cool items. I also have signed items from Arthur Adams, Greg Rucka, Randy Emberlin, Joe Rubenstein, all kinds of really amazing stuff. I have donations from community members like Skeff and Austin LeMay, who we said hello to earlier in here. I have one of his slabs with a bloody remark on it. It's the only bloody remark he did. Tons of comics donated from the community. Slabs from my own collection that I'll be putting up. Comics from my own collection that I'll be putting up. Free comic books for anybody that wants them. Free cards for anybody that wins. All this happens at 4 p.m. today on my YouTube channel, 4 p.m. Pacific time. That's 7 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be going until everything's gone. I'll have plenty of time slots available to run the different pieces of art and big key items. Oh, by the way, I also have some original TMNT comics that are going to be up for sale, including a 5th print of number 1 and a 2nd print of number 4. First appearance of Shredder, first appearance of Krang. A lot of really cool stuff if you're into comic books and comic book art and collectibles and comic history. I recommend you check it out because it's for a great cause. It's all for Mission 22 to help our veterans here on, Veterans Day was observed yesterday, but today is Veterans Day officially. So I thought it was a great time to do this auction, and I really hope to see you all out there supporting this cause.
Absolutely. Bad Spidey, thanks for dropping the link. And of course, scrolling across the bottom there, and it's just at Bronze Age Nerd here on YouTube. You can go check him out today again in just about 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So we have 43 out of some 49 people. So we got most everybody here real quick. Chris, before I spin this, what's coming up for you this week?
Well, I hope to put the finishing touches on a DC Pack Wars video that I'm putting together where 3 big retailers have been releasing some DC packs and trying to figure out which one has the best value for your dollar. And this Wednesday will be Show Us What You Got, the new Comic Book Day Hangout, where it's an open invitation to join the panel to show us what new comic books you picked up for your collection. Thank you, Rob. Yourself?
Awesome. Well, I'll talk about myself later. I want to get onto this and back into some more books. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's spin it and see who wins it. Wheel of Fish. And our winner is Mr.
Hey.
Comics 89.
Hey.
Congratulations. All right,
Nice.
let's stop sharing
Congratulations.
that screen there. Move myself here. Make myself bigger there. All right. So, Christopher, you're going to be helping pull the books there for Mr. Comics 89. We're going to pull 6 books in total. You can give me a number 1 through 10 from the front, 1 through 10 from the back, or we'll do some back to front action.
Let's do number 7 from the front and
right.
number 6 from the back.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'd like to hide that. 6 from the back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. 4 more.
Let's do put your hand in the middle when I say stop. Stop. And let's do 3 back towards the Great Wall there.
Okay. 3 back from here. 1, 2, 3. All right.
And then from right where your hand is at now, let's do 4 back.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 2 more.
Okay, we're gonna go all the way to the front, and we're gonna get into that meaty section near the back. Can you do 10 back from the front?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're getting all the books that are facing that way. All right. Ooh. All right. 1 more book.
1 from the front.
First book. First book or 1 book after the front?
The very first book in the front of the box.
Very first book. All right. There we go.
Yeah, watch your back.
Good luck, everybody. Well, good luck to the winner.
All right. So first up, first appearance of Birdie, X-Men issue
Oh.
number 6.
Look at that
Love that
Jim
cover.
Lee goodness there. Yes, sir.
Very appropriate for something we're about to see.
Second cameo of the Court of Owls.
Ooh.
Nice. I don't know why that's in there, but yeah, here we are.
Yep.
Whoo, whoo.
Thor 303.
Ooh.
Wow.
Cross cover.
Batman White Knight presents Red Hood. Black label book.
Very nice. Sean Murphy doing some great writing in there.
X-Men issue 2.
Hey.
Yes. Sensing a theme, Rob.
Yeah.
And last
Nothing
but
better
not
than
least, Cosmic Ghost Rider issue number 1.
Ooh.
First appearance of Axel and Crawl.
It's a
There we go.
Great cover.
Yeah.
Very Futurama-ish.
Is that his first solo title as well?
No. Cosmic Ghost Rider? It might be. I don't know. I don't know, but that's a great set of books there. Congratulations there, Mr. Comics 89. Like I said, we're not giving away just garbage. So
Clearly not.
let's see here. Mr. Comics, we'll write it down. Comics 89. All right. Let's put Christopher back into the position of power and we'll make him big.
I love that, Spidey. Yes, I was picking for myself, trying to grab all the X-Men books for all the X-Men fans out there. Because if you're not, you should be. Speaking of which,
The B variant, I believe.
and Jim Lee and all that
What
fun
variant
stuff.
was that Ghost Rider? I think.
I believe it's just the B variant.
Yeah, I do. It's a knock. It's a knock
Oh, it's
variant.
a Todd Knock?
Yeah.
Well, that might be my favorite headshot variant he's ever done then.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I said, speaking of Jim Lee, speaking of X-Men, let's go with a Jim Lee signed.
Yes.
you go.
One of the classic covers from the entire Jim Lee era, I would say, if not X-Men in general. I had this signed in person at Rose City Comic Con 2 years ago. Was able to go in and do an event with him and get 2 books signed. That was one of them. And you know what? I pre-screened this and I thought maybe it would come back a 9.8. Got a 9.6. That's okay. This next book, not okay with the grade. Really don't like it at all, to be honest. I feel like the facilitator that was there, they used a third-party presser when they pressed the book. I don't think they actually pressed it.
Oh.
So this is, look, I'm a 90s kid. I love me some cheesy 90 characters that most people hate. I love Prophet. I love Union. I love Maverick. And so I had to have the first appearance of Maverick, one of my favorite covers of all time. I had to have Jim Lee sign it, and I got a 9-0.
Oh.
But you know what? Oh, it's a newsie.
You know what, though? To me, this is the best Omega Red cover that's ever been made. I know I know his first appearance is a cool cover and everything, but Omega Red and Wolverine, when I think of Omega Red, it's this cover I think of, and it is glorious.
Yes.
Yeah, regardless of the grade. Now, to me, I always thought, looking at this was a tough book to get autographed because it's so busy. So I guess Jim picked the perfect spot, or you had Jim sign the perfect spot. But yeah, to me, the grade is. I know it would hurt, but just the subject matter is just so damn cool.
I can see the signature placement like along Omega Red's forearm.
That would work, I think. That down in there, that could work. Even maybe just kind of like right above a little, depending how big their signature is, right above maybe where it says that the hand's Omega Red, like right on his forearm. But and here's the other thing too. Unfortunately, I'm not somebody who brings markers with me. I'm going to start after the signing.
Right.
He had black available, which I thought was a little strange that there wasn't other options for a signing like that. I mean, it's, you probably can imagine it was a rather expensive signing. And it was a private kind of signing you had to pay, to get access to and everything. I would have wanted red on this for kind of obvious reasons. But you know what? I'm super happy to have it. I had a great interaction with Jim Lee, who is hands down my favorite artist from that time period, at least. And very happy to have it because I love Maverick, which is, I know, a weird thing, but I absolutely love that character.
I always like to bring with me if I'm going to be at a con. Black is good for certain things, but I always like to bring a gold and a silver because those are ones that will work on dark covers, or generally you can tie into something else. You can't carry too many different colors, but I find that those three, if I'm going to carry three, that's my those are my three.
Hector Ortiz has a really good question. This is kind of one of those, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound kind of a question? Because X-Men 4, which I have several 9/8 X-Men 4s. It's a great book. I love that book. Could have easily brought it here, but I think it's overdone, especially in the modern game. You see his tendrils, his carbonadium tendrils, curling around on X-Men 4. To me, that is the definition of a cover cameo, which is a rare subcategory. But that's what I would call that. So by the definition of cameo, the way I think of it, a cameo is a first appearance. It's just a first appearance in cameo, as opposed to a full body appearance.
I'll go a step further, and I'll just simply say that 4 isn't. If it doesn't have their face, their body,
it could have been Dr.
It's not even look, we some of these people really split hairs when it comes to cameos. When we talk about stuff like we talk about Mary Jane, where you have a face obscured, and you've seen some hair, or where you see like Darkseid on a monitor in something, right?
Apocalypse's shadow,
and those are things like you're talking about inside the comic. When you start talking about a cover, I'm sorry, if you don't see the person, they're not on it. I don't care if it's if all there is a hand coming off or something, or in this case tendrils, they're not on the cover.
Yeah, and to me, like the whole thing about cameo, first appearance, first full appearance, whatever you want to call it, it comes up to a lot to what you want. Don't try to let somebody tell you what matters when it comes to what's important for your collection. When it comes to value, it's a different question, and I think it's one that's largely decided in the court of public opinion. For me, I'm somebody, if there's a cameo and a full, like I have that Hulk 180, I'm hunting for Hulk 181 because I want the cameo first appearance and I want the first full appearance. I have a 182 already, so I kind of have that trinity of Wolverine books if I get that 181. For X-Men 4, I'd want X-Men 5 as well, because to me it is that first cover appearance in full, at least. If you can afford it, that's what you got to do. If you can't afford it, you got to figure out what matters more to you.
They said real gangsters get both, right?
Exactly. This next book is one that I had to grab. This happens to me a lot, and it's an unfortunate thing that happens where somebody passes away, and you look back and you think about what their their life, and in a lot of cases, what their career or their work meant to you. And this is maybe a little weird one for some people, kind of a leap you got to think about for a second. But if you're not familiar, somebody passed away who was the inspiration for this character in totality. This character would not exist if it wasn't for this person. And this person completely created a version of that character that was popular to many, 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 many of us. I'm talking about Arlene Sorkin. And the reason that I got this book.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
From 1989, an old CBCS 8.5 slab, first print, was because Arlene Sorkin unfortunately passed away. And, you know, she's somebody like, my daughter's 5 years old. She's watching Batman the Animated Series and loves Harley Quinn and loves Poison Ivy and loves those characters. It's something that has a real meaning to me, especially when you go back. If you ever go back and watch the clip of her from Days of Our Lives where she's doing the Jester character that Harley Quinn is literally based on, kind of out of literally a fever dream that Paul Dini was having. I really recommend going and checking it out. It's important. It's a piece of history. She's a beloved version of this character. And, you know, maybe more Harley Quinn coming up later in the show, but that one I had to have because that Alex Ross cover is just amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's great. It's been done. It's been homaged. It's just
It's even in film.
Cover.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that of course is, I'm trying to remember, that's the first appearance in the regular universe.
In continuity. Yeah.
Yeah, in DC continuity, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, you know, I'm actually generally really opposed to celebrity signatures on books. That's a book where, like, if it had been possible, would I have liked Arlene Sorkin to sign it? Maybe, but I'm generally opposed to it. I made an exception for this one. I had an opportunity to come up with a friend of mine, Sketh, where I had an opportunity to get this for my birthday. He helped make this happen, and I really appreciate him doing that. And it's also not the core comic book here isn't extremely important, but I am a big Star Wars fan. I'm a big fan of The Mandalorian. I was a big fan of the Clone Wars. And I'm a big Katie Sackhoff fan. So I'm a huge fan of Bo-Katan. So I have a lot of Bo-Katan related comic books. This one is her first cover appearance.
Nice.
It's her first full appearance in comic books as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it is actually personalized. This is not something that happens very often. She usually signs, Bo-Katan, something like that. She signed it. This is the way. And her signature, Katie Sackhoff, in a CGC 9.8.
Great.
Huge shout out to Skeff for making that one happen.
That's great.
She's coming to SF Expo, and she's like one of the ones I'm thinking about because, like you, I don't generally get too many celebrities on a book. I have had Ray Park sign a Phantom Menace book with
the photo cover.
Yes, the photo cover because he was featured, and
that's totally what I would. Yeah, 100%.
Right, and then I've had what's his name? Played Malcolm Reynolds on
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, Nathan Fillion signed a Firefly book that had the character on the cover. You know, but Katie Sackhoff is one of those ones that would be good. I would. Because as a kid, you know, I'm so into Star Wars and Battlestar.
I was going to say, like, to me, she'll always be Starbuck.
Oh, very much.
I'm glad that now she's returned to a brand new, or I shouldn't say genre, but a brand new IP that's just as big or bigger.
Oh, yeah, she's now straight up nerd guy's fantasy now.
That's it now. Like, she
literally in
she can
Big
sign
Bang
autographs
Theory.
forever now. Either big IP, Battlestar Galactica, or Star Wars. But to me, she'll always, I guess because it was first, and to me, Battlestar Galactica is one of my top 5 shows of all time. The early 2000s run was just incredible. And I recommend that to anyone who's seen it. It's sci-fi, but it's fantastic writing and acting. If you never watch it, it's great.
Good drama.
But before you put that down, Christopher, would you mind reading us what's on the right side of that label?
And I kind of misspoke a little bit too, by the way. So this one actually just calls out Lucasfilm 50th anniversary variant cover, because this is the Chris Sprouse variant cover. it was signed, and This Is the Way by Katie Sackhoff on July 2nd, 2023. But this is her first cover appearance in the Marvel continuity. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Her first full appearance is, I think, Mandalorian season 2, number 3 or 2. I can't remember. I got a bunch of those. Yeah. But this was one of those things where I just thought it was either this or a Black Series figure or a Funko Pop. I didn't have one of the replica helmets available or anything like that to sign. So to me, this was like, hey, for a cheap base comic, you're going to get a 9.8 on it because it's so new and there's minty copies available. That's great because I'm a big Battlestar fan. I'm a huge fan of hers in general. And then This is one of those two where two other celebrities I would consider having signed a book would be Robert Downey Jr. signing the Demon in a Bottle book, which sounds really twisted and sick, but I think I get it. But to me, that's one that I would 100%
Blake would appreciate you doing that.
Well, I think the story of how he overcame that and became Iron Man to me means a lot. But the other one is Ashley Eckstein signing Ahsoka books. For people that don't know, Katie Sackhoff voiced Bo-Katan from her original appearance in the Clone Wars cartoon. So she's been with this character for a long time. Right. And now I'm a Battlestar fan originally too, of course, but followed her to that series and loved her portrayal in that show.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone's going, man, what's with all these modern books? Let's go back in time a little bit. Isn't this guy an X-Men fan? What's he showing Star Wars books for? This is currently my earliest X-Men book that I own, and it is the first appearance of Kazar. I know people like to pronounce that different ways, but it's only a 2.5. This is that low grade is better than no grade kind of philosophy. But absolutely love the X-Men. I am foolishly attempting or pretending that I'm going to eventually get all the Uncanny X-Men books. Probably never going to happen, but I'm never going to stop trying. So
that's great. Christopher, who's the creative team for this? I'm presuming Stan Lee, but who was the artist for this particular issue?
Yeah, this was Stan Lee story, Jack Kirby, and Chick Stone cover and art.
Yeah.
So 1965 banger, first Silver Age appearance of Kazar, Kevin Plunder, Zabu the Sabretooth, and the Savage Land itself. So
that's his first Silver Age appearance. So he was. I didn't realize that he had been around before Silver Age. Though.
Yes.
And I'm not familiar with which issue that is in the Golden Age, but that would be a fun book too.
Yeah.
Okay. So hinted at this appearance earlier. Continue my trend of lower grade than you'd expect for this book, but hey, I have a copy where I didn't before, and we're talking about Harley Quinn again.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah! Yeah!
I agree, Remy. And I got a smoking deal on this too. So for the price, I just could not turn it down. A book that I did not think I do a top 10 comics I'm trying to buy every year, like it's a personal collection goal list. And I put Batman Adventures 12 on the list, and I was like, what am I doing? That book is not coming back down to earth like I expected it would. It's still not climbing, but it's plateaued to the point where it's hard to grab a copy. But this is the first appearance in any comic book other than one promotional comic book that came with a record or a CD. I can't remember. Which is I think
it was a cassette.
Yes, that's what it was. One of those like little licensed cassette sets or whatever. But 6.0, hey, hopefully I'll upgrade that someday. But I'm happy to have her.
Yeah, I was just going to say they just came in. Dale Suspense did it. I was just looking it up myself. The first appearance in comics of Kazar is Marvel Comics #1.
Oh boy.
Affordable book.
Yeah.
Achievable, boys. Achievable.
However, if you want to get the first appearance, it might be more affordable. Kazar #1 from October 1936 is a pulp magazine. Pulp magazines are generally less desirable, less sought after. Just looking at on Key Collector, a mid-grade one runs about $290 versus a mid-grade Marvel Comics running about $400,000. So,
that'd be a fun pulp to have, though. To be honest,
yeah,
that would not be bad.
King Fang and Claw. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So there. Thank you.
All right. So continuing a little first appearance of popular anti-villain, anti-hero type characters from the 90s. Got to talk about Deadpool.
There you go.
Got a good deal on this, and luckily the person I bought it from knows a expert presser. There's no way this was maybe an 8.5 as it was when I bought it. But we both saw the potential on it, and he had his friend press it, and man, proof was in the pudding. He swore up and down. He's like, man, I've seen the results. I think it might be a 9.8. It's like, it's not a 9.8, but I'm happy with a 9.6 on this book for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And,
seen it a million times. Nothing super unique about it, but still a great
but,
book.
But it is a roller coaster book. Let's be honest. When it comes to value, like like for a modern book, I think that's one that rides that roller coaster the most. In my opinion.
And as I was talking about earlier, that is a book that when it comes to the newsstand versus direct, that people who are selling it really, really seem to value the newsstand variant on that book. Because I was specifically looking at 9.6 graded copies. And I will tell you that the difference between a newsstand versus a direct for people selling them was almost double.
Wow.
I mean, it's absolutely insane. I was like, I told this guy, why are you really? Is that say that price on there? He says, yeah, well, it's a newsstand. I said, yeah, well, obviously you value that a lot more than I do. Because
hopefully nobody is buying it at that price for double the value of a direct. But
I don't know. Maybe they are, but
hope not. I mean,
it's not me.
Yeah, exactly.
See what happens when that trailer drops for Deadpool 3.
Right. Okay, this is also in a Mylar bag, so apologize for the crinkling.
Not yet, it's CJ. We're still going. My goodness.
By the way, CJ, huge shout out to you for the work you put on yesterday doing the stream. Helped get us very close to that $1,000 mark, which is a great head start. Thanks to everybody that participated last night.
Yeah, despite his character, CJ is a fabulous stand-up guy.
Yes, yeah, and that's really he's overcoming his handicap quite a bit. All right, so
wait, don't worry, CJ. Your secret is safe with us. He's a jerk. He's a.
Yeah.
We've had a couple second appearances in here already. We've talked about a couple notable ones.
Wow.
This is my favorite second appearance of all time. Another book that it's for a while, it seemed like this thing was just going to the moon and there was no getting a copy of it. So I am thrilled with when I bought this, getting a mid-grade copy of X-Men 50.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, Peter, hit me.
Yeah.
Ow!
Yes, baby. Let's go.
Absolutely. Steranko goodness. Second appearance of Polaris. And it presents really well for a 4.0 too. That's the nice thing. There's a lot of copies of this that have discoloration on the cover, chipping, that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty happy with that.
I got to admit, before Claremont and Byrne and Claremont and Cockrum, I really enjoyed the Steranko era of the X-Men. You know, the whole trade dress change and that style. Now, not to take anything away from Lee and Kirby or whatever, but I really personally enjoyed the Steranko stuff. Now, that is a big book to me as an X-Men fan. Would you mind reading us what's on the right side of that blue label, Bronze, please?
Absolutely. Second appearance of Polaris, Mesmero appearance, Origin of the Beast, new X-Men logo. And that is a 1968 book.
Yeah. Yep.
So just lovely.
Steranko for what you did with that book, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had an opportunity to get him to sign this book, but I would have had to crack it. And I just, his lines are insane. And I actually kind of feel like this book, I'm okay with not having it signed. Although a yellow label on this would be pretty snazzy. It would go pretty well with it. It's actually funny. This is a book where I considered buying a green label for the price break and just for the fact that the green label would go with this cover so well. I'm a weirdo when it comes to
if you really want that, then why don't you just send it to EGS and get a custom label?
I could do that too. Yeah, I could do that. Is this my... Yeah, this is my final X-Men book that I'm going to show today. I've got a lot of other really great stuff. I've got tons of yellow labels by Chris Claremont. I send in for a signing, great stuff. Days of the Future Past and Phoenix Saga books and all kinds of stuff. And some more I need to send in. Can't wait to get those back. But this is something I talked about Arlene Sorkin passing, and this is where I get really nostalgic and really sentimental when it comes to somebody who's passing away. And this is somebody who I think undeniably a legend in our industry. When he passed away, I had to have a signed piece from him, and I had very, very specific rules for what that signed piece had to be. It had to be something that he wrote. It had to be something that was near and dear to my heart, and that is X-Men. And it had to be something that I could potentially afford, which after his passing was very difficult. And you may assume that I'm talking about Stan Lee. So I got a Stan Lee X-Men 16 signed.
Yeah, this is my best ever.
Simon, signed right there on Master Mold. Not a big mega key, but it is one of those ones where it is kind of cool that it's a yellow label with the yellow cover. Obviously, I think that aesthetically... Is it the biggest deal in the world to me? No, but it's cool.
It is perfect. You don't have to go down that road. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And
just somebody, this is one of those things. This is my soapbox. I'll step on for 1 second. There were about 4 or 5 real opportunities where I could have gone and met Stan Lee, and I kept saying, I can meet him later. I can meet him later, and then I couldn't. And I know he met lots of people. I know he signed millions of comics. But to own one, and millions of comics he didn't write, millions of comics that his name wasn't even on in some cases, and anything else, you're right. But to own a piece that he signed, that he wrote, means a lot to me, and I absolutely love it. But that's that reminder. There's a lot of great creators out there that are still around. If you want to go meet them and you have a chance to, I really highly recommend going and doing it, so you don't have any regrets.
Yeah, because we've lost quite a few lately in very recent times of some greats with George Perez and Neil Adams and John Romita Sr.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Got 2 more books left that we'll talk about today, folks. This one you've probably seen before. Hopefully with a couple extra signatures than most people usually see on it. Hey, thanks, Marty, for doing that. That's awesome. We appreciate that.
Channel member extraordinaire.
Yeah, that's great. We are talking about Ultimate Fallout 4.
Oh yeah.
And this one is triple signed.
And it looks to me like you got not only the triple sign, but you got all 3 signatures are different than the 3 signatures I might. Oh no, Clayton Crane.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we both have Clayton Crane.
Pacelli
Who are the other 2?
So yeah, the Pacelli one. That's funny that it looks like Pacelli. That one is the Brian Michael Bendis.
Okay.
And the top there is Nick Spencer.
Oh,
okay. All right. So we have two of the same. So I have the Brian Michael Bendis and Clayton Crane.
This is Crane before he was doing the Rainbow Sigs too. I bought this book raw, which is why it's in a CBCS verified label.
Right.
Okay.
My third is
no.
Bagley on mine, but
this is also one of those books. If you can actually get the real UPC. Like the non-direct, that is
not the facsimile UPC,
right? It commands a big premium, and I know certain Miles collectors that are out there or whatever. It is a very, very expensive book.
Yeah. And I mean, such a great character. It is. I found a real new appreciation for Miles playing the Sony Spider-Man games too, which is kind of a weird way to go about that, but. It's really just enjoyed him.
Launched that book.
Yeah,
that book was not a big deal, and then it was, but it wasn't. When that first game came out, that's when all of a sudden that book just took off.
Yeah,
and people said, "Oh, well, this character's legit."
Yeah,
because
and Spider-Verse too, of course.
And then Spider-Verse,
right?
Yeah, kind of helped kind of keep that going, and I mean that second movie was amazing as well. So. And it's funny because if you watch with kids, you might have seen Spidey and His Amazing Friends, which is a series that follows Peter, Gwen, and Miles.
That's a different one than the one I grew up with.
Yeah,
Iceman and Firestar. Yeah, but let's be honest, Miles is becoming a Spider-Man to a new generation. I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
And a lot of my collecting is stuff that I do today. A lot of books I'm willing to grab that I wasn't willing to grab because of my daughter, and she loves Spin, they call him on that show, because he's a DJ, and she loves it. She loves seeing this comic book, and that's just really cool. And it'd be cool to pass it down to her one day. Which brings me to my number one comic book in my collection. Just my appreciation of it, my love of it. There's one comic book I would never sell, no matter what happens, no matter any financial hardship or anything. It's the first thing I would grab in a fire besides family and essential documents, maybe. This was given to me by my father. It was around my birthday, kind of a birthday present. I don't remember exactly how old I was. I was 8 or 9, and my dad would travel around. He was a forester here in the Northwest. He would travel around doing land management all the time, and he would stop into comic shops and buy G.I. Joe comic books. He had a spreadsheet printed out with all the issues I needed. He helped grab me issues I needed. So my love of comic books directly ties back to my dad and directly ties back to him getting me books just like this one. I held on to this thing, read it dozens of times when I was a kid. Contains many first appearances of some of my favorite characters. G.I. Joe, number 1.
That is
Smoke if you got him.
Bronze. This is your original copy.
Yes, from when I was a child.
9/6.
Yeah.
Did you have any TLC done to this book?
So I did have this book clean and pressed. It does help that it was on the Baxter paper, and it does help that I was a anal OCD little kid that kept all my comics in bags.
I was going to say, did you know how to read?
Yeah. I started reading really early.
Because I was like, barely read. That's awesome.
It's funny. By the way, I know Chris likes to ask, and I love that he loves to ask this. The label text for this one, man, they dropped the ball on this one, in my opinion. The label text for this one is based on the Hasbro toy line, which is, first of all, not really true because it was really the original thing that came out before the toys.
Right. The Transformers was more like that, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of true in the fact that they asked the comic book to be produced because of the toy line, of course.
So they don't have no first appearances.
None. You got
Scarlet's not there. Duke's not there.
Duke was actually issue 22.
Okay, pardon me.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But you have all the characters, Scarlet, Baroness, Cobra Commander.
First appearance of Snake Eyes, Scarlet,
yeah, Snake Eyes,
Grunt, Breaker, Rock and Roll, Stalker, Zap, Short Fuse, Clutch, Laser, Steeler, Hawk, Grand Slam. First appearance of Cobra, the terrorist organization. First appearance of Cobra Commander. First appearance of Baroness. Yeah, there you go.
And beautifully ties into the message of today. Ties into one of my favorite characters of all time.
GSX, the modern day GSX, sort of. Yeah.
There you go. Baroness is one of my favorite characters of all time. Brunettes with glasses are my kryptonite. And I married one. And I absolutely love that character for a lot of reasons. Just so cool. And she's actually the first character you see in this book. And the reason that ties into things that I just want to mention it. I mentioned I have a couple original pieces coming up for auction later today on my Heroes for Heroes event. 2 Baroness pieces. One of them from Ivan Tao, who's never drawn Baroness before. He drew Baroness for something to be kind of related to G.I. Joe and today's theme. And the other one from Comic Tropes. Chris from Comic Tropes drew a Baroness piece as well. So both those will be available. There's Baroness statues behind me and figures and comic books, and I collect every Baroness cover, the Art Germ and the Adam Hughes and Mike Mayhews and all that. Love that character. I love a lot of G.I. Joe. Love Snake Eyes. Love all of it. So absolutely what got me into comics. It means a lot to me. The fact that it was from my dad, the fact that he did that for me when I was just a punk kid. It's part of the huge part of the reason that I'm where I'm at today. So
that's awesome. And guys, again, make sure you check out at Bronze Age Nerd, all word, both on Instagram and on YouTube, especially this afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern for his Heroes for Heroes charity auction going on, supporting Mission 22.
Yes, please.
So thank you so much for coming on and bringing those books with us. It's great to have you on.
Great to be on
and share some of those books. Really appreciate that. It'll be time for us to do another giveaway here, so people don't go running off yet. We'll just throw it up right now. What the hell? It's hashtag OnlySlabs.
Nice.
Go ahead and put that in there. Well, that's going on. I'll let you guys know that earlier this week, of course, I dropped mystery box from Old Man Collectibles. It was a pretty good box, I would say. If you haven't seen it yet, Monday's mail call is coming up, and then this coming Thursday there'll be a mystery box. I don't know which one of the two I'm going to record yet, but there'll be a mystery box coming up on Thursday. Anyways, aside from that, then of course we'll be back again next Saturday for another episode of Only Slabs when we are joined by the immortal Biggie Shack. So he comes back to make his first appearance on Only Slabs, because he was our last time he was on it was the final episode of SlabHub.
Wow, and he is going to bring some fire. I know that.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, that's something I just want to say real fast. I really appreciate you guys having me on. I really appreciate Rob and the C3 crew. I really appreciate everything you guys did. Doing a charity event today and all the work that's led up to it. I know it's a crap ton of work. It's way more work than anybody probably can see from the outside. Huge props to the absolutely phenomenal job you guys did. And props for having me on here when you have so many guests like Immortal Biggie Shack, like your guests over the last few weeks, that bring absolute straight fire and willing to let me come on and share some of my books.
I appreciate, because
come on.
we always like to say it's not necessarily about that big. It's all, some people are really after big flashy keys. Some people are after different things. It's all about learning the books that are important to you and getting to know you through your collection. And that's the point. And that's the point of Only Slabs. And what's always great is we find books that we go, oh, wow, yeah, I like that book too. I need to go get that book. And next thing you know, I'm doing another mail call with more stuff that people showed off on Only Slabs.
Nice. That's great. And that's the thing is, I mean, a big part of what I talk about is a lot of people say collect what you like, collect what you love. And I like that. I think it's a little cliche to the point where I just like to really, spell it out for people. Don't be afraid to follow your passions, not what other people are doing, because you're going to enjoy it more.
All the crowds are joining and saying the same thing. It's not a competition. It's about the stories. The stories are why we watch. Right. Exactly.
People tune in to hear your G.I. Joe story.
I hope so. I really hope so, because I think that kind of stuff is what matters in our community. I think we need more of that out there personally, 100%. Which is why I try to talk about that kind of stuff. And I have a slightly better books I could have brought, but I'm like, you know what? It's valuable, but it doesn't really mean as much to me,
No, Christopher, that's your second appearance, though. You come on your second appearance and you flex the hell out of everything.
That'll be my X-Men 266.
Awesome. All right, guys, make sure you guys get your hashtag OnlySlabs in there. I see 44 out of 55 viewers. Get that. Remember, I do ship internationally, so that's all good. Mr. Comics 89 says he's in competition with himself, so there you are. I can find myself with that too. Yeah. Golden Age doesn't do anything for me, but I always like to learn new things. Yeah, hey, that's a true thing. Some people, you may find that you like or you learn something new about some of the certain eras, but they may not necessarily be what you go after necessarily, right? Exactly. I'm always fascinated and I appreciate pre-code horror books, but they're not a book, they're not a genre that I'm particularly interested in going after. Oddly, I found myself recently going after some Bronze Age horror books, but I still have no interest necessarily in the normal pre-code horror. But I am a sci-fi guy. Rocket ships, bubble helmets, ray guns, and jetpacks, baby. Let's go. All right, I'm gonna I think we've given you guys enough time there. Thank you guys all for coming out here. Let's find out who our second winner is. Round around round she goes. Where she stops, well, maybe you know.
Wheel of Fish.
Dagger. Hey. Wow, he's been winning a lot lately. Unfortunately,
congratulations.
The Canadian Post has really been hanging him up there for him. So it's been taking almost 2 weeks for him to get his books. But hey, congratulations, Dagger. All right, let's Chris, for your fellow Canadian,
okay,
what books are you going to pull for him?
The cool thing about Dagger with his wins, though, he posts them. And everyone that's watching, if you win on OnlySlabs, please post those videos. Rob and I love watching people open those packages and commenting on Rob's great packaging skills. Okay, let's start with Lucky 7 from the front.
Wow, 7 from the front again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right.
Now, Rob, I know you don't like going beyond 10, but because today is the 11th day of the 11th month, can you go 11 from the back, please? See, I'm tugging on his heartstrings, everyone. He can't say no to that. All right. Let's let it ride. And stop. And those 2 books, Rob, that your finger splits, we'll give those to Dagger. And we'll let it ride again and get a little bit closer to the front. And stop. And those 2 books. Dagger is saying that 7 is his old hockey number.
Okay, get an extra pull.
He has an extra pull. Let's go 7 from the rear, since he said that's his jersey number from childhood. And Mad Spidey, I recognize that today is the 12th on your side of the planet.
On his side of the date line. Yeah. All right. So that extra pull book, it gets a little extra size book here. We have Batman Lobo.
Oh. Well, that's a different cover right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely took it to 11 there.
Yeah.
The book that gave you your
see
free
what you
pull.
just did there.
You got Enter the House of Slaughter free comic book day. That was your book that gave you your extra pull.
Very nice.
Signed by Dean White. We got Hit Girl, issue 3.
Some Mark Miller goodness. John Romita Jr.
And how about Venom issue 29?
Oh,
That's cool.
Yes.
Tyler Kirkham.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice Virgin variant.
Agent Venom.
I think. Sorry, I gotta double check because I thought I just want to make sure. All right, Fantastic Four issue 24. Some Alex Ross.
That's great.
Yeah, that's timeless.
Yeah.
The
hairstyle on the cover's timeless too.
Future State Flash #1.
Right on.
And finally, how about Ms. Marvel #1, The New Mutant?
Oh, cool.
I've never seen that cover before.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
Yeah.
Very nice. Fun cover. Great character.
All right,
too.
congratulations there, Dagger. We'll get those on out to you. Guys, everybody, thanks for coming on out. Appreciate you all for
Can I show
joining
one more
us.
thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. There's one more thing I want to show off because I think it's by far the biggest piece we'll have today. Just for a second, and anybody who likes comic books, I think, is going to like this. This is the Ron Garney piece we're going to have today. That is a original Conan. By the way, Ron Garney, literally the fastest man to say yes to me for donating. I gave him the elevator pitch, and he said, "Here you go. Take that. Here's a couple."
Somebody called Gary B.
Yeah.
Please do. We definitely want this to get all the attention from everybody in the community that might want it. Gorgeous Conan piece. A lot of real fun stuff like that. So I just really wanted to take a second to show that off because I just appreciate the hell out of that art. Yeah. So hopefully somebody else does too.
Well, good luck to you, sir. I know that speaking from experience, I know that it is a one heck of an endeavor pulling those things off and sitting through those auctions. I've been very fortunate when I do them. I have some compadres helping me track everything. So if you're doing this solo, good luck to you, sir.
And just a quick shout out, since I do have people in here I know that watch my content. I'm willing to, if you message me, I'm willing to make people mods that I didn't have a lot of mods on my channel to begin with. I'm going to need your help today. If you're willing just to watch and kind of watch chat, that's a great way to help out. That doesn't involve spending money. Help me kind of police bids and all that kind of fun stuff. Big help. So anybody that just watching, that's all I ask. Just, help out the algorithm, right?
Check it out. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank
Guys,
you.
again, last Tick and Cross Bomb, check them out today, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, Bronze Age Nerd. Thank you so much, Christopher, for coming on the show. Guys, also want to remind everybody, as I turn that off there. Oops, wrong thing here. Don't forget, again, everything goes here goes to Comics Curing Cancer, supporting that. So appreciate you hitting that thumbs up. they appreciate all those channel members, both the Henchmen and the Goon Squad. For anybody who's been purchasing merchandise from the merch store, fatstacksmerch.com, Comics Curing Cancer merch, Fat Stacks merch, OnlySlabs merch, all of this goes, 100% of the proceeds go to support the cause. And also, of course, you can get your books pressed at the Rogue Trader. If you're interested, check them out at theroguetraderutah.com. Use the code FATSTACKS, 20% off your pressing, including the already discounted bundles. And when you use the code, $10 is donated to Comics Curing Cancer. Right. So, and again, we'll be back next week with the immortal one, Biggie Shack.
Great guy.
Until next week, guys. Until next time, collect what you want. Don't listen to any of us, especially me, because I'm just a fat man with a fat stack of comics and a fat opinion. Thanks for watching.